All right, you are tuned in to student-run, student-led college radio, KTUH FM, Honolulu. I'm DJ Ledworks. This is Rumor Control, and these are the facts. Today, I have a guest in the studio. Part of his work is B-Side HNL, B-Side Honolulu, former KTUH DJ, Radio Free, and of course, author of a recently released book, Local Unrest. Shawn Speedy Lopes, welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me. I appreciate this. This is awesome. Being back in the studio after all these years. You know?
When was the last time you was here?
I recorded something for video here like several years ago. But before then, I mean, I was a DJ here, I would say like 1990, 1991.
Nice. What time slot did you have?
I had like, back then it was... sort of segregated, right? So I did the jazz show from, like 9 to noon, something like that, on a Tuesday, something like that.
Tuesday, so at least it's in the morning time.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
None of those 3 to 6 a.m. Like
no. I mean, I started off doing that like everybody else, right?
Yeah.
But
those times, was it like every time slot was filled?
Oh yeah. Everybody wanted to be a DJ, right? On KTUH, right? Like.
Because now it's not every slot.
Right,
Of course, like, I don't think a lot of people favor the 3 to 6.
Oh,
or
yeah,
the 12 to 3.
But if you wanted to be on the air back then when radio was king, right, you had to start off 3 to 6 a.m., which I did. And then you get moved up to, midnight to 3. Yeah.
Right? Because on the forums, it still says, like, when you apply, be able to train from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Really? It's like, you need to update that form. No. But no, that's.
That's before everything could be automated, right? So
yeah.
You had to have somebody in here.
Wow, yes. Okay, right on. First off, I want to say thank you. Thank you for putting this book together, Local Unrest. It's a very nice history lesson into the local scene here. The chapter 1, the introduction to rock to Hawaii, like Tom Moffat.
Yeah.
In the 50s.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like,
I tried to take it from the beginning, like just a little bit of the history of just rock in Honolulu, underground rock, right? It starts with, rock and roll coming to the islands, Tom Moffat, and then in the 60s they start getting into like surf and garage bands, like local bands, right?
Yeah.
Underground bands. A lot of them were high school kids,
Yeah.
And then that leads to the 70s and punk rock and all of that.
How long or when did the idea come together? Because the format, right? You did interviews and you kind of just recorded in here. Because some of the guys aren't like here anymore.
Oh, I mean, the first 3 people that are interviewed have all passed on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad, but I'm so grateful that these people actually were willing to talk to me, and I have their words, captured forever, right? Like, for posterity.
One of them, Bino Shots.
Yeah.
So
legend.
Oriental Lovering and Squids.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, wow. Let's see. So when did these interviews take place?
So I started this project maybe 2020.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I couldn't do any more video, right, because of the pandemic, so there were no shows going on at clubs. So my new obsession was, hey, I'm going to interview these people and find out what happened like before my time, right? I was always interested in, the forefathers of the scene and, what happened before. Like that was kind of like an obsession for me. I had to find out the story of our scene,
Yeah. Wow.
From the beginning.
You take it back to the introduction of rock to the islands. There's a part in this book. You point out it gets to the Punoho part. Your introduction, like high school kind of identifies yourself.
Oh, okay. That's the chapter of the dam builders and exact tones. Yeah.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Farrington.
Oh, yeah, Farrington.
Yeah.
Okay. Right on. I'm more on a little
kid,
because I grew up in Salt Lake. But
gotcha.
My the summer going into my junior year, we moved to Kalihi.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh no, I'm going to I got to go Farrington now. Like I'm playing sports, I got to make new friends. I'm like, what's going on? But thankfully, I was was taking a computer class that they didn't offer at Farrington, so
Yeah,
I got GE and was able to continue at Mauna Loa.
Gotcha.
But a lot of scenesters at that school, I found out later at Mauna Loa. So I'm like, okay, that's the really great connection there.
Yeah. I mean, that's the cool thing about this book is like you kind of see the histories of some of these bands, and it really talks about the high schools that they went to, which people in Hawaii really sort of identify with, right? You know what I'm saying? Like the different neighborhoods these kids came from, and how the scene developed from certain parts of Honolulu and branched out to the whole island eventually. You know?
Yeah. There's so much. There's so much cool stories in this. Is it Poi Dog Pondering when they did the 8 months on the road?
Yeah, amazing story.
Trying to make it.
And they made it huge. They made it to Columbia Records, right?
Yeah.
They got signed to Columbia Records. They were like a college rock sensation, like in the late 80s.
Yeah.
And there was a bidding war for Poi Dog Pondering, like a Hawaii-based band that eventually relocated to Austin. But, I don't think a lot of people realize, like, there are bands that really made it to that level, like to the major labels of, the American recording industry.
Yeah. There's so many things, like, because you cover a really broad timeline,
right.
70s, 80s, 90s.
Right.
And so, like anybody, like, you could take a chapter and then just expand it. Like, another book just on that trip alone.
Oh yeah, every chapter could be its own book. Like there's so much information, and I had to cut it short at about the year 2000 because this book is already thick at 420 pages. You know what I'm saying? My original plan was to take it to the present, but I was like, okay, there's no way I'm going to take it up to the present. I'll never catch up because this took me 5 years to do to get up to the year 2000. If I tried to take it to the future, that'll be another 5 years that have passed, right?
Oh, man, because
I'll never catch up.
The last 3 chapters, that's when I'm like, okay, I know these bands now.
Yeah,
it's kind of like when you mentioned, like...
The 90s,
Go Jimmy Go, Grapefruit.
Right.
I never been to the Fast Zone. I went post Fast Zone when that Les Fernandez tribute show. That was at the original Fast Zone, right?
Right, exactly.
So yeah, it's it takes a while, but I mean everything before that is great.
New to you, right?
Yeah, it's new to me.
Yeah.
I remember it was when I was going into 7th grade. I started listening to like my sister's friends' records. I stayed with her in the summer in Vegas. She was going to UNLV. And they're guys from like Kauai and Aiea, and so they had all these rock CDs like Green Day, L7. You mentioned the first bass player of L7, Aaron
Figueroa, yeah.
I was like, wait, does she live here?
Yeah, she does. She does.
First bass player for L7,
and she lived with a bunch of people in James Addiction, in LA.
Wow. And that's a wild story.
Yeah.
But I started listening to those, and so when I came back to Hawaii, she's like, "Oh, they said listen to Radio Free Hawaii if you want, like more rock stuff."
Right.
So I'm like, okay, but every time I tune on, it was like I called it weird music.
Yeah.
And so I'm like 13, 14. I want to hear like Pennywise. I want to hear Epitaph stuff better.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just probably caught it at different times.
Right.
But K-Poi was a big one too.
Yeah.
MTV at the time was great source for just alternative.
Yeah, in the 90s, like music just exploded. Like what we would consider underground music in the 80s, like it was above ground in the 90s. It was huge. Like there were so many more bands in the 90s, local bands too. It was no longer a secret. It was basically mainstream, almost mainstream, you could say,
Wow. Okay. Right on. And then BYK Willie. My first show here, someone called and was like, "Oh wow, you're playing BYK." I'm like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Willie's in town." I'm like, "Huh?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna have him call you." And he called me on my first show here because I mentioned on the air, I was like, "I don't have the CD," and he was like, "I'll give you."
Oh, right on. Yeah.
Oh, and that was my first show here at KTUH.
That's a classic one too.
And at 24 was my first show here. Yeah. Oh man, wow, lots to talk about.
Yeah, it's available on Amazon if people want. And also, actually, if you want to get it right now, if anybody's listening and they're interested in the book, they can just go down to Skullface and go grab a copy. It's available
Oh yeah,
there
it's still
too.
there. Hard copies up there.
Yeah.
I got the hard copy, but I had to get the Kindle because it was going to arrive late. I don't have Prime, so
Yeah.
I don't have the free shipping.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm still going through it. Actually, the last 3 chapters with all the Gojib No stuff and the explosion of, I guess, ska. Because you got Mike Park in here too.
Yeah, Mike Park and Karina from Dancehall Crashers is in there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, right here. Wow. Did you go to the DHC show when they're here in October?
Oh, not the last one, but yeah, I've seen them many times in the 90s. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
My introduction to them was so that year 98.
Yeah.
So actually, my first concert was Bush came down in November '97, and Speedy Norman opened up.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
I noticed Peter Fond.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So you mentioned him in the book. Yeah, that was my first local band to see. And then
okay.
Warped Tour
Right.
the following February.
Yeah.
And so, did you go to that one?
I did not.
Yeah.
We're talking late 90s now. Yeah.
So 98, a band called Sunchild opened up, but everybody's sitting on the ground. And so I'm like, oh, is this how concerts go? Like you sit on the grass, and they're just, it was a mild set, right? So I'm like, oh, I guess this is like Woodstock. I don't know. And then when the Locals stage opened up, the first band was the Sticklers. And then they were completely different.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my, this is local music. And then it was the Sticklers that got me into the
cool.
scene. And of course, it was the song Red Ants.
Yeah.
That I'm like, okay, I love local music.
Yeah.
And then I met Doug recently. I'm like, you sang?
Yeah.
That was you? Thank you, Doug.
You're
Thank
that
you,
crazy.
Dave.
You're that crazy frontman for that band.
So yeah, it was that, and so that got me into just local music.
Yeah.
And Blink-182 played that day.
Yeah.
Got to see 311 Vandals. Mighty Mighty Boss Tones was there too. Like, I was like, oh my goodness. And then the second Warped Tour that following year, I got to know more local stuff. So I remember Unit 101 played, Imminent Riot.
Mm-hmm.
Speedy Norman played at Warped Tour.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then I was telling you earlier, right? 98 was the big year for me. So after Warped Tour was Scalibration at Andrews Amphitheater.
Okay.
Go Jimmy Go opened up. That was
Right.
my first time seeing them. And Hepcat, Dancehall Crashers, and then Save Ferris. I remember, I think it was Tino trying to sell me T-shirts. It's like the Go Jimmy. I was like, oh, it's the blue one with the yellow dragon. I was like, I wish I bought that. But
so you see things in this book that you can relate to, right?
Yeah.
Like in the later stages of the book. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's very, very lovely.
That's so cool.
We're gonna take a little break. We're gonna play a couple songs. He gave me his favorite album, so we're gonna hear some. I got some specials queued up, and play a couple messages and PSAs and more with Shawn Speedy Lopes here on KTUH FM Honolulu. Keep it locked.
KTUH Campus Events Calendars.
For the University of Hawaii at Manoa campus news, go to www.kaleo.org.
Stay tuned in the next hour for the concert events calendars.
All right, you are tuned in to student-run, student-led college radio, KTUH FM Honolulu. I'm DJ Ledworks. This is Rumor Control. These are the facts. Today's my love letter to one Shawn Speedy Lopes. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
For having me.
Just a heads up, I don't know if I've mentioned this. The book is called Local Unrest. Sorry to the caller. Yes, the book is called Local Unrest right now, and it is available hard copy and digital too. What was your favorite chapter in this book?
I have several favorite chapters. There was one that I wasn't expecting to write, but it turned out to be the final chapter, and this was about the women who became involved in the scene.
Oh, okay.
There's a whole movement among young women in the scene who started their own bands in the 90s and became a scene within a scene, pretty much,
Who's out there? That chapter 25.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Who's Out There, chapter 25. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
And let's see who opens it up. Gail Gail Jean,
Yeah.
vocalist for Big Electric Cat.
Yeah. So Big Electric Cat was a band that happened in the 90s. And Gail's interesting because she comes from the East Coast, so she was very much a part of the New York punk scene in her day, right? So she knew all those bands, all the important bands that came out of New York in the 70s and 80s.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then also you got Lonnie in here.
Yeah.
My Ex is Dead.
Yeah.
One of my favorite bands that I only got to see once, and it turned out to be their last show ever. And it was kind of random.
Yeah.
My friend called up and was like, "My Ex is Dead" is playing. I was like, "Okay, I'm headed there now."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And I think it was at Next Door.
Okay.
And when I got in, it was during a band called Ecto Gamut, their set, and I got to see a little bit of that. It was more indie rock,
Yeah.
kind of poppy stuff. I liked it.
Yeah.
And then My Ex Dead
Yeah.
came on. I was like, "Ooh, yeah, I love that." Okay. So that's your chapter 25. I found the
I think chapter 4 is pretty intriguing because it's kind of where the scene really starts. 3D was the first punk rock nightclub that Hawaii ever had, and then the Wave. Wave Waikiki is a legendary nightclub as well, right? Known the world over pretty much. And they came along just a couple months after, right? So 1980 was a huge year. And obviously it was before my time. But having talked to people in the scene, I mean, it's kind of where the scene really starts to pick up momentum. There were kids, before 1980, obviously, that were listening to this music and starting bands. But when these nightclubs started up, it really became a scene.
Wow. Yeah. Wave Waikiki, 3D, the stories and just how.
Oh, yeah.
And the drinking age was 18.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Because now it's 21. I mean, now cigarettes, it's 21, I think it's the age.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So that was. Sounds like it was a fun time for sure.
Yeah, and it was a violent time too. Like as I mentioned in that chapter, 1980 was the deadliest year ever on record in Hawaii in terms of murder. People like to talk about the old days as being the good old days, but really, if you think about it, there weren't as many security cameras around. The gun laws in Hawaii were a lot more lax, so. People got away with stuff, back in the day, and you can read about it in this book. Like it was pretty shocking to come across some of the stuff in this book because some of it's really violent. So
yes, it's the violence, when you look at people the wrong way, and then a fight would. I'm like, wait, that's like high school rules.
Yeah,
I was like, well, my generation.
Yeah.
And then the reference to Kill Howley Day.
Yeah.
That was an actual thing. I'm like, oh no. And then the reference that SRO's song, The Mokes Are Coming Out.
Yeah.
That was a thing.
It was a thing. Like if you were walking around with a mohawk and somebody didn't like it, I mean, they might take it to a physical level with you,
Oh man.
That kind of thing.
That's so scary. I thought the one local show I went to was pretty, not scary, but I mean, because it was at a warehouse, right? It was a seatbelt theater.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's like, it's in Dillingham.
Yeah.
My auntie them lived down the street. It was by I don't know if the recycling center is still there.
Oh, okay. So that's super close to where I grew up.
Yeah.
Too.
Where down the street.
It's like
from
industrial
Dillingham
area of Kalihi. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was a little terrifying. Luckily, nothing bad happened.
Yeah.
But now I go to shows today, and it really is a safe space. Just because I think everyone who's adults now are keeping an eye out for the little ones, and they're always pushing for all ages shows, which is great. And I know it's a safe space.
Yeah.
So,
but back in the day, it was like the Wild West, right?
I would hear stories at school. Oh, we did this, we did that. What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Right on. Yeah, that's wild. A lot of wild stories in here. I just wanted to point out that one quote from. Let's see if I can find it. Mike Silva, yes, MUG,
Yeah.
Mean Ugly Guys. So it just says, MUG spent most of 88, like, done. We had to break up because I started having all these issues with mental illness. It's been a lifelong thing that no one really diagnosed in a proper way. But for the first time in my life, I'm actually seeing somebody for it. And I read that and I was like, oh, I'm so happy for him.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, totally.
He's doing great.
I still talk to Mike every once in a while. We met in intermediate school, which is what you would call middle school now, right?
Yes.
And growing up in Kalihi, I didn't know any kids. There were no other kids that were into punk rock that I knew of. And when I had met Mike and his friends and his brother, they were into metal. They were hardcore metalheads, you know. Eventually, they turned to punk rock, and they formed a band called MUG, which people talk about to this day, you know, as being one of the legendary hardcore bands.
Yes.
But yeah, it was great to talk to Mike again, and to have him be really open and honest about things that were happening to him as a teenager, and you know, these mental health issues that went undiagnosed for years, and now he's doing great. You know,
Yeah.
it's good to talk to these people again. You know,
Yeah,
from my
for
childhood.
Sure. And then I wanted to point out, like, I'm just going to throw a bunch of questions at you.
Yeah.
I love this so much. What was it? Broken Man. There were two bands before that. I'm guessing it was the same guys. It was Sod, and then before them was another band, but it was just that, and it was just like they just changed the name, and then ended up being Broken Man.
Yeah, and then there would be a member or two that they would change. So Sod, yeah, and then Stage Dive, and
Stage
then
Dive,
Broken,
yes.
yeah, and then Broken Man, yeah.
Yeah. Those guys, like, when it got to that part of the
Yeah.
book, I'm like, okay, now I know some of these bands. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I've heard of them, but
They were a little bit before your time, right?
yes,
Yeah.
and they're bands who would write songs, kind of like shouting out the scene. Like, I know Mr. Meaner has this song called HPU for Hawaii Punk Underground, right?
Yeah.
So they would list their peers,
Yeah.
which would be like Generic, 101, and then they
Right.
mentioned the OGs, Devil Dog,
Right.
MUG, and all those, SRO. And
Yeah.
all those. And then, of course, Smith's more contemporary band,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
punk rock. They have a song called 808 Scene. And then they list their contemporaries,
Yeah.
which would be Black Square,
Right,
and all
right.
those guys and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh, okay. There has to be another band now has to write their generation, so I can know those bands at least. But, I like those kinds of songs, and just like the referencing to just OG bands and stuff.
Yeah, I mean those bands like Sod and Stage Dive, Broken Man, like they were really on top of what was happening when metal and punk started to fuse. You know, in the mid '80s. So yeah, shout out to those bands because they were really on top of what was going on, like in New York, and at the same time, you know, people tend to think of Hawaii, even people within the scene, oh, we're behind the times or whatever. No, these guys were on it while it was happening, you know?
Yeah.
And often it was before the internet, right?
Yes.
So that makes it even more amazing that we're here in the middle of the Pacific, and a lot of these bands were doing what other bands were doing on the mainland and around the world, you know, at the same time.
Yeah. And just before that, the hair metal,
Yeah.
Aaron's Rod.
Yeah.
I still haven't heard any of that, but I need to check it out.
Yeah, it's good
about,
straight. Aaron's Rod is good straight ahead heavy metal, and they actually got signed to CBS Roadrunner, and they got distribution, you know, in Europe and stuff. So in a sense, they kind of made it as well. But their contract, as I understand it, was not favorable to the band, and they probably should have had a lawyer, you know, look over their contract.
Yeah.
But they'll go down as one of the legends of heavy metal in Hawaii, you know, along with bands like Hawaii and Sacred Right, who also had great reach around the globe, you know,
And
from Hawaii.
Scarred for Life.
Yeah.
That band too. Is it Matty Friedman?
Oh, Marty. Yeah.
Marty.
Yeah.
The guitar, he played it in Megadeth.
Yeah, I mean, he's a legend. Like, you ask people in the metal scene, like, who are some of the greatest guitarists that ever walked the earth, like, he'd be up there, too. And,
Wow.
yeah. And he was doing bands before he joined Megadeth. He was doing bands here, bands like Hawaii and Vixen, and we're talking like early 80s, mid 80s.
The band Hawaii, now, they were sort of in the metal, hair metal kind of sound.
Well, not so much hair metal. They were actually thrash. And speed metal.
Because you dropped
Vixen,
like Slayer, that kind of sound.
Yeah.
That's
right.
Oh.
But then when there's a part in the book where they talk about, some of these bands talk about going to the mainland, right? And then, now you're competing with the hair metal bands.
Yeah.
You're competing with some of the glam rock bands and stuff. And it was kind of hard for some of these bands to find footing on the mainland, right? But their stories are in there, and they did make some progress, and their albums are still available, today.
Well, the book is called Local Unrest. Shawn Speedy Lopes in the studio. We'll be back after a brief message and some music. Keep it locked. KTUH FM, Honolulu. You're tuned in to student-run, student-led college radio, KTUH FM, Honolulu. I'm DJ Ledworks. This is Remote Control. These are the facts. Today is my love letter to one Shawn Speedy Lopes. Thank you for being here in the studio.
Oh, thanks for having me. This is awesome. This is like my first interview, you know what I'm saying, over this book.
Really?
Yeah,
Awesome, man. I hope you get to do one of those like an opening at a bookshop where you read the chapter everybody. I've never been to those, but people sit down and someone will read an entire chapter.
Could happen, and it'd be awesome to have something like that and have all the people from the scene from the different eras just come out and hang out and meet each other and perform, maybe, that'd be awesome.
Hint it. No. Yes, make it happen. Any promoters out there. I'll talk about jellies, and you bring up Norman here. And so that was a big part of my youth, too. So since I didn't go to shows, records were important, and saving lunch money. Yeah. And thank goodness for the tapes, which were only a few.
$5,
yeah,
right?
So it's affordable.
Yeah. Yes. Jellies. Tower Records had a lot of stuff. Yeah. But the stuff you couldn't find at Tower Records, you could probably get at Jellies. Yeah. Because they really concentrated on a lot of imports and just underground music. As you might have read in the book, a lot of bands would play here on KTUH at Monday Night Live, and they'd get a copy of the tape, right? Yeah. They'd go ahead and duplicate that and sell it at Jellies. Yes. And that's where I got a lot of these bands' demos from, Devil Dog and what have you.
Yeah. Tweaked, Petty Ford's, Power Pellets were the three big tapes that I had for Monday Night Live stuff. And then out here, singles tracks from Mr. Orange Undercover. I don't know if it was the Raymonds, but when I got here to KTUH, now I got the a whole library of all this stuff. So thank you, KTUH, for that. Monday Night Live.
Oh, yeah. KTUH was always huge in promoting, the local underground.
Yeah. And explain to me Radio Free Hawaii and their formats. When I was reading it, it seems the listener would dictate what goes on the air.
Yeah, pretty much.
With the ballots and stuff. So would you literally just have ballots around the island?
Ballot boxes around the island. So this is right before the internet, right? In the early 90s. Radio Free Hawaii started in 1991. And basically the format was started by Norm Winter, who owned Jellies. So he would see through his stores that, the Whitney Houstons and Mariah Careys were, they would sell, but there were other bands that were you'd never hear on the radio that were selling like hotcakes, right? Metallica and Minor Threat or, whatever. And so his idea was to start a radio station that was determined by votes from the people, right? It wasn't a record label that told the program director at a station, here's what we're pushing, can you play this? It was the people directly controlling what gets played on the radio. So that lasted from 91 to 97.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you just go by that.
Yeah, against all odds for 6 years. People thought it wouldn't last 6 months, but it lasted 6 years,
that's I think about that, right? I'm going to go to store, find the ballot, and then just drop it off there. And then I'm guessing people from the station would go around and pick up these ballots and just They'll say
Count them all.
thousands.
This is like before the internet, so everything had to be done by hand. We'd have like a station van that would go around and pick up all these ballots at record stores, surf shops, restaurants, bars, and tabulate all the votes. And you'd come up with a top 36, and those would be the main songs that were played. But there would also be, some of the greatest hits, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Like people might not list a specific song, but they might say, "Hey, play anything by The Cure or play anything by Slayer," and those would get played on the station as well.
Yeah. Wow. Because I remember, so when I started listening heavily to K-pop and like all the rock stuff, alternative stuff. So at that time, it was like bands like Bush, Everclear,
Right.
Stuff like Big Melee. Like I wanted to go Big Melee so bad because
Right.
Offspring was playing, and my mom was like, "No." I'm like, well, first she was like, "Where is it?" I'm like, "It's at a place called Kualoa Ranch."
Yeah.
Right. I have no idea where is it, and she's like, "No, go get the address." Right. And I'm like, "Really? You don't know where that is?" She's like, "No." And so I called the promoter, or there was a number, and they're like, "There's no address." And I'm like, "Well, you can't go." And
man.
I'm thinking she didn't want to drive out there.
Yeah.
Because like 5 years later, when I had like a license, I could drive now. And I was like, "This is far."
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, because we lived in town in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And it's like, no way. Yeah, no way she would have drove me out there.
It's basically almost the North Shore,
Yeah. Waimanalo is far. Like she was just like, "Okay, I can drop you off at the polo field, right?" So
Right.
I'm like, "Okay," but we had to take bus at night. Like there's no lights there. Once it started getting dark, like the only lights were car headlights. Everybody trying to leave, and like we need to run to the first bus stop to get out of here. I was like, okay, and we took it all the way to Ala Moana. That was an adventure. Wow. Okay. I'm thankful for places like Jelly's, especially the Market City one. That was my favorite.
Hungry Ear was another one. Yeah.
I never knew where Hungry Ear. I never knew that place until like much later when I was an adult. I guess the big ones, just because in town, and Kaimuki was what I knew. So Tower Records on Kapilani, right across the street, right across the street. At one point, it was when Cheaples was around. So it was like a little room, and I remember I think his name was Nelson. He played bass in Numbskulls at one point, and he was working. I was like, "Hey, I just saw you guys. You guys are awesome." I think they played at Worlds, and it might have been for the Vandals, but I could be wrong. I mean, but yeah, it was cool to see all these musicians work at the different work.
Yeah, that probably would have been about the time I was working there too.
Yeah, the Market City local section was the superior from the Pro Kai one. I thought just because it had more tapes there. I remember picking up Generic's Hawaiian Assault, Stickler's 7-inch before I even had a record player. I was like, let me just get it just in case.
Oh yeah, at that time, the local scene was really kind of exploding with, available music, right? Like you could buy like a 7-inch of this band, or you could buy a CD of that band, and whereas it was a lot harder to find bands' music, 10 years before.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a neat time for people in the scene.
For Tower Records, I never seen any like local stuff but I do remember like Hawaiian Express compilations, and of course when Go Jimmy Go released their first album, like it was in the middle, the Tower Records Pro Kai one, and then once you walked in, it's like Go Jimmy Go. I was like, finally, okay, the first album. And I was pretty stoked on that. That was a fine album. I still love that.
Yeah.
I don't consider it classic or nostalgic just because I never stopped listening to it.
Yeah.
So it's still fresh.
Super good band. Yeah. Awesome
sure.
guys.
And then I got to see them the following year after Celebration at the second Warped Tour. And then they got a trombone player. And I was like, what? Hey, I didn't know you had auditions. I played trombone in the school band.
You miss your calling.
I know. I was like, oh, I never see the flyer. But yeah, definitely good times. Let's see. What was the hardest chapter for you to write? Anything like just memories, like just like.
Well,
that was a hard.
the
dark
section
time.
on the 90s, I have several chapters on the 90s, and I still feel like it's not enough. I think the 90s could have been a book unto itself.
Yeah.
Because so much happened, and there was so much more going on than in the previous decades that I almost feel like I should apologize to the bands or the people that weren't mentioned or weren't featured enough, or I didn't have enough space for photos, and so the 90s I think could have been its own book.
Yeah. Nice. Like it's I mean, you could, there's like an ellipsis at the end of this book. Like it's going to continue on. Someone else can take the reins.
Yeah.
Or just wait for the next one. But yeah, because then the 90s, like when I started getting into it, and it just seemed big. Like there were just shows happening regularly. A lot of shows I didn't know about just because I didn't go to shows. But after the 2000s too, like maybe like, because I graduated 02, so like from 02 until I moved back home, because I went away for college, my first bout of college. So I came back like I think 2012. So like just that 10-year span, like it blew up with just like a new kind of music, new kind of scene.
Yeah.
And it was people my age now,
Right.
doing the shows.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay,
Right.
wow. So that was pretty exciting times, and I think stuff that I missed out on, but it continued on up until the pandemic and all that.
Yeah, I mean, it's at the back of my mind to do a follow-up to this, because this book ends at about 2000, but there's so much more that's happened since then, right? So I hope if I don't do it, I hope somebody else writes a book on it.
Yes. The book is Local Unrest. Just a heads up. Local Unrest. And it's out now, hard copy.
Yeah.
digital.
You can get it at Skullface, which is on Bethel Street, I think, in Chinatown.
Yeah.
Or you can order it on Amazon.
Yeah. Let's see. And Skullface, they got a show coming up.
Oh, yeah,
Nice
in February?
lineup.
Yeah.
Smiths, Cesspool, Democracy, and Sumer are the three bands playing. Full transparency, I stand to not benefit by mentioning that show, just because it's a solid lineup, and I look forward to it. And that place is always packed every time they have a show there. So it's like, do I even attempt to go? Because I'll just be in the back. Yeah, I got here late, but it's always a nice time there, it seems.
Yeah, I love that store.
Yeah.
That place is awesome.
And shout out to 808 St. John for always uploading footage of the shows that I can't make
Oh,
it
yeah,
out to.
he's at every show. That guy's awesome.
I saw him last night. Got all the sets. So it's like,
I mean, he's been doing stuff for years and years and years and years, I've been watching his videos
Yeah.
a long time.
and like, because every now and then he'll upload, not an obscure.
So we're talking
band.
about John Wong. by
John
the way.
Wong, yes, 808 Steve John.
Yeah, look up 808 scene.
John, and just videos of the past and all that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to some more music, more later in a bit with Shawn Speedy Lopes. Keep it locked. KTUH FM Honolulu.
KTUH FM Honolulu.
Way from helicopter.
All right, you're tuned in to Student Run, Student Led, College Radio, KTUH FM Honolulu. I'm DJ Ledworks. This is Rumor Control. These are the facts. Today's my love letter to one Shawn Speedy Lopes. Thank you for being here again. I appreciate you so much.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me, man.
Just a heads up, a playlist of today's show is available on the station's website, ktuh.org/schedule. Of course, I'll be posting it later on Instagram at DJ Ledworks. KTUH is also on the socials at KTUH FM. And of course, we do have our community events calendar on the station's website, ktuh.org/events. Hey, Shawn, let me ask you, what's on your current playlist right now? What are you listening to?
Current playlist? They say that the music you listen to between the ages of 12 and 16 are the ones that'll stick with you for life. So, I mean, I can never go wrong with certain bands like X or the Smiths or, like 80s bands that I loved as a youngster,
Yeah. The 80s new wave. I'm fortunate that I've older siblings who
Yep.
were the 80s kids.
Yeah.
And then I got the tail end of it, but I'm really a 90s kid. So I was introduced to all the 80s stuff. Like my brother is a Ultraman Kikaida guy. He got me into comics and all that. And
Yeah.
of course, my older sister is a former, or probably still a blockhead, right? New Kids on the
Oh,
block.
yeah.
Yeah. I remember she told me she went to go see New Kids. I don't know if it was at Blaisdell or not, but she got in the elevator and Joey McIntyre was there, right?
And she freaked out? Or what?
She probably freaked out, but then she's like, "Where's Donnie and Jordan?" Right? And then Joey was like, "Oh, they're with the older girls." I'm like, "Okay, that's probably true."
Yeah.
Yes.
Guaranteed.
But they didn't introduce me to music like that I listened to. They didn't, like, I had to find that out on my own.
Right.
So, well, aside from their collections, and it kind of just went from there.
Right.
So, the local scene I found out on my own.
Yeah.
And it was always like, this is mine. Like, nobody knows this stuff.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, it's kind of exclusive to me. And I'm like, you guys aren't listening to the good stuff. This is the good stuff.
That's how I felt too growing up.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then it turns out everybody else were actually going to shows, and I just was buying tapes. I was like, oh, okay. You see them all with your friends with them. Oh, that's even cooler.
Yeah.
Can I join in? Yeah, like Moana Low was kind of not a hub, but like a lot of scenesters went to that school.
Yeah.
So it was very cool to see that. I'm thankful for the English department at Moana Loa, because they had this thing called Java Jam, and they would put it on for students to recite or perform original works. So like poetry. I don't think slam poetry was a thing,
Yeah.
but you could get extra credit too by doing that stuff. But they would let bands play too, so they would open up this thing called Java Jam, but you didn't clap after every song, you snap. And I was like, this is super cool. And I think it was once a year, and I got to see a lot of high school local bands play. Turns out, though, they were playing venues every other weekend, too.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
You found out later.
yeah. So, bands like, there's a band called Fire Blanket. A girl named Erica went to our school. She played guitar in the Products. And I was like, you know Les? It's like, okay. It's super cool. She was in my basic electronics class. Shout out to Erica. Yeah. Right on. Okay. What would you say? Well, you did give me your top 5 favorite local bands or local albums. Would you please share it again?
Let me see. What did I tell you?
Oriental
The
Love
Vacuum
Ring.
was
Vacuum.
one, right? Idle Force from the Vacuum, which I love. Oriental Love Ring came out with a CD that is super good.
In This World.
Yeah, In This World. I loved Hat Makes a Man when I was in high school. I was too young to go see them at the Wave, but me and my friends would catch them anytime they played outside of the Wave, right? If there was a block party in Chinatown, or if they opened up for a national band, we'd go see the band. We'd go see them, not really, and then leave before the headliner would show up, because we loved them. We loved Hat Makes a Man so much, you know?
Huh.
Yeah.
Did you see all those bands? Did you see like the Vacuum, like live?
I wonder, did I see the Vacuum live? I mean, I have their tape. I don't know if I saw the Vacuum live, now that I think about it.
That would have been really cool.
Yeah.
SRO, you seen them?
I don't know if I saw SRO, live.
And then what was it? Oriental Love Ring, Hat Makes the Man. And wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. But then a lot of the bands that you dropped in here, like mainland bands that have played here too, I'm like, that's crazy. Well, I mean, like back then, I'm sure it was very accessible, and bands were just touring all the time, just doing their jobs in Hawaii.
Yeah, it
and
was
stuff.
kind of interesting to learn about the bands that the first hardcore punk bands that came to Hawaii, right? So we're talking like Agent Orange, right?
Wow.
Circle Jerks played here in '84.
84.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're playing here again.
Yeah.
This next
Their
month.
promos say that it's the first time they played in Hawaii, but people who know that they had played here before in 1984. Yeah.
I've seen different places they'll say 83 and 84. So I'm like,
Yeah,
which
no,
one's
I
that?
can guarantee you it's 1984.
February 1984.
Yeah, February 1984. Yeah.
So, wow, that's 40 years.
Yeah, that's over really 42. Yeah.
40 since they last played.
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd
it
be
was
one to
like
go
right
to.
before 3D closed their doors, so they might have been the last band that played at 3D. Yeah.
At 3D.
Yeah.
Would you say 3D is or was Hawaii's CBGBs?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah, I would say so. That's a good analogy. I mean, it was a little bit before my time. Like I was maybe 13, 14 years old, when they closed, maybe 14 when they closed. So I always thought, well, I could never get in there. But talking to people, they're like, you could have gotten in there. Just wait till the door guy goes to the bathroom and just walk in. And I was like, what?
Oh man,
I could have gone there?
yeah. And just reading this, and so the history of all these venues, like, and I'm just like a showgoer. Like I don't know anything behind the scenes, but they're just as important as like the bands, like these venue owners and like the promoters are just as important.
Oh, yeah.
Because then they brought the bands.
Exactly.
They kind of knew, okay, this crowd might
Right.
like you,
And some of these promoters took a chance on some of these bands, right? Put up the money and everything. And there was like a thirst, right, for these bands. Like, wow, there's a hardcore punk band, like a nationally known band that's going to come to Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, they were competing against, big time bands that played the Blaisdell, right? Like heavy metal bands or hard rock bands or rock and roll bands. Or whatever.
And I don't know if that's a thing, or I've read that as a thing where, like, when you plan an event, right? Like, don't let it land on the same night.
Yeah, right.
Things like that. And
Right.
there were a couple shows. I mean, they'll mention, like, all the crowd was kind of soft just because everybody was over there on that side.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. So, but I mean, like, just go to both then, or if you're able to. I always have a hard time, like at Republic. I always miss the opening local band.
Yeah.
Oh, they start. I just got off work, man. Come on, cater to my schedule. No.
I know when you're younger, you just go to school and then so on the weekends you can do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
But
That first time going to Blaisdell to see Bush, I can't remember where I bought tickets. I don't know if it was at Towers or at Jelly's. But after that, I started getting them at Jelly's Pro Chi for like, all the shows and stuff. But I went there. I went there wearing a Bush shirt. And I don't know if you ever seen that movie PCU. There's a rule: you never wear the shirt of the band you go see. And I felt like such a poser.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, but I love this band. Gavin Rossdale, I love you. Right? So, but it was a terrifying experience in the mosh pit for the first time. But
they had a mosh pit?
Oh my god! And the lights are dark, or like they turn off the lights. So I'm like, oh no, you can't see anything. I remember someone brought in those green lights, the one you crack open.
Yeah.
But then someone cracked it even more, so all the liquid.
Yeah.
It got in my friends. I was like, oh no, this is the worst. And then I learned about outdoor shows like Warped Tour and stuff. I was like,
Right.
this is perfect. Make it outdoors all the time.
Yeah.
But make sure you have lights at the end when when the sun goes down.
Yeah, when you got to catch the bus back
Yeah.
home.
Oh wow. Okay. I'm gonna play another track, some music, and maybe a brief message. More with Shawn in a bit. Keep it locked. KTUH FM Honolulu. All right, that was the Drowning Dreamers Band. You're tuned in to student-run, student-led college radio, KTUH FM Honolulu. I'm DJ Ledworks. This has been Rumor Control, The Facts. My love letter to Shawn Lopes. Once again, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me here.
Just hanging out, telling the story. So once again, the book is Local Unrest. Do you have any social media for?
There's localunrest.com if you're interested in the book. There's also a Facebook page for Local Unrest. There's an Instagram page for Local Unrest at local_unrest. So yeah, you can find it. Just Google it. Local Unrest.
Unheard, ignored, rejected. Local Unrest. The Extraordinary True Story of the Birth and Rise of Hawaiian Punk, Indie, and Underground Rock. And this kind of this is like the tip of the iceberg. Like,
Oh yeah.
you know, there's so much out there, like, but this is a very good introduction to it, I think. Very
Yeah.
lovely.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks.
The last few chapters is where it's like, okay, my
Era. Yeah.
my era, kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But everything before that is just a wonderful collection of stories and all that. So,
Yeah. So if people are wondering, where the scene started, where it came from, how it came about, I mean, this is something you might want to check out.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, and thank you to the listeners. Later today, I believe DJ Ivan, 3 to 6, followed by the Kitchen Sink, DJ Maynard G, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., and of course, DJ HK live talk show, 9 p.m. to midnight. Keep it locked. KTUH FM Honolulu.